And my kids can imagine there was 7 months in my wife's gestation and pregnant at that time, and today, he's already in the university as a second-year medical student, for example. Now, what more can I say? What more can I ask in that sense? So, and this is a science. It's also a spiritual thing. So next, traditional medicine, as you can see, and then medical sciences, as you can see, they all were separated for many years, and they continue to be separated today. I think the Baha'is of the future, when we look into the future of medicine, is about the integration of both traditional and modern medicine. Next. Medical science has made great advancement, but do you know that medical science, when we learn about medical science, a lot of our knowledge about our health actually comes from where? Our experiment with animals. I'm a specialist in design facilities for research. I can design facilities that are special for monkeys, non-human primates, for mice, for rabbits, for dogs, for cattle. I'm trained in the area. So I actually design facilities for experimental animals that you need to work on. And if this animal are infected with a zoonotic disease, as I told you, the 4 group, if this animal are infected, you walk in the room, you can be exposed as well, and you can die. So we designed this facility. As you see in Winnipeg, in Canada, I was there for that training actually for BSL-4 lab. Now, what I want to say here is that a lot of our knowledge about human health and the medication that the pharmacy company produce all these drugs for you, this artificial medicines that are given to you, comes from our experiment with animals. Once they see that it works on animal, then they move on to a clinical phase where they will pass through a safety test on all this, and then they go to human to test on safety and efficacy as well. And then later the FDA approves it, and it's been dispensed at the pharmacy. Now, all our knowledge about these medical sciences, majority of them have come from the animals. But let me ask you, are animals human? What is the difference from animal and human? Remember the creative energy? We have that creative energy, the animals does not have. And whatever science that we use, from learning from animals to produce drugs to treat humans, have in that equation, they have left out that component of spiritual energy. The power of love, the power of prayers, that is one component that the animals, we didn't have that, the creative energy. Why do I share with us this? Is because you can use a lot of these drugs, it will not work on you. It will work on some, it may not work on others, because you are a spiritual being. And spiritual beings do not respond like animals do. Like I told you the story about the 3 patients. One is very depressed and cynical, negative, and all those things. Animals, they are about the same if you give them the same environment. So drugs don't work on you if you are negative and so on. But for animals, you test on 100 mice, all of them will respond. On 99 or 98 will respond. But on human, it can be a very different kind of response that you get from individuals. So I want to show that this medical science that we know, a lot of them came from animals. But animals are not human, and they're not spiritual beings. And that's why Abdul Baha said we must also heal ourselves spiritually and also physically as well. Next. Traditional medicine remains a traditional practice with little or no scientific support, and that's why people don't take it. Like, the acupuncture, the Singapore government has rejected traditional Chinese medicine for more than 20 over years, but because of the pressure of a lot of international studies and reports and scientific paper, the amazing effect of acupuncture has been all documented, and the Singapore government finally said, okay, we recognize TCM. And today, those doctors in Singapore who are traditional Chinese medicine kind of doctor, they are recognized. They can give you an MC medical cert, they can give you whatever. They are finally being recognized. But in the past, we will always cast it aside. Next. But this new era has begun, right? This new era has begun. Next. This is one beautiful slide I want you to remember. Do you know all the ancient religion of the world, from Hinduism to Buddhism to Christianity to Taoism, you know, even the ancient practice in Egypt with the pyramids and the Sphinx and Buddhism and, you know, so on and so forth. Jesus came and he left, and there was a Christian civilization, the golden age for them. Buddha came and left. There was also a golden age for them in their civilization, and they have all come and gone. But despite all the great religions come and gone, what is your yardstick to measure? If I'm an alien from another galaxy, I come onto this solar system. Hey, this planet that they call Earth, all right? Hey, they are human. They are living beings here that you call human. Now, if I'm an alien and I look at you and I say, wow, one of my first questions, imagine you go with me to outer space and we reach a planet and say, hey, there's living things here. There are living, you know, aliens here. What is your first question? Hey, I wonder how advanced are they? Are they very primitive or they are super advanced, more advanced than the human? Right? This is one question you ask, right? What if an alien came and he sits on the moon and he sees, hey, this planet Earth called Earth, and there are people. But they also have religion. Christianity, Hinduism, they are all come and gone. But what is the yardstick to measure the progress of a civilization? Know what a yardstick is? Now, if you have a birthday, all right, let's say you live in Apari in Cagayan, and here I am in Manila, and it's my birthday. I want to send this message to our friend from Cagayan, perhaps in Apari, and say, I have this birthday, can you please come and join me in this celebration? Just 500 years ago, 5,000 years ago, if I want to send a message to our dear Manong here, how fast can I get my message to him? Yeah? How fast?
1 year.
Huh?
1 year.
1 year? The speed in which I can get my message to Manong in Apari depends on the speed of a horse. How do you say horse?
Caballo.
Caballo. You know, so how fast a horse can run is how fast I can get the message to him. Alright? That horse is the yardstick of measure. It happened 6,000 years ago when Lord Krishna was in India. The messages passed with also speed of a horse. The great Buddha came and left. It was still the speed of a horse. Moses came and left. It was still the speed of a horse. Right? Christ came. Still the speed of a horse. Zoroaster and everything else. The great conqueror, Alexander the Great, Julius Caesar, whatever, you know, that you have. What was the speed of communication? Speed of a horse. And if that is the yardstick to measure the progress of a civilization, I'm the alien sitting on the moon and see this guy. Many prophets have come and gone, they still use the horse. How advanced are they? They're still quite primitive. If I come from a very advanced civilization from outer space, hey, you guys are like cavemen to me. You still use a horse. Now, what happened? Next slide. On May 24th, actually it's May 23rd because of the time zone difference. Actually on May 23rd, 1844, Samuel Morse sent his first telegraph message from Washington DC to Baltimore, Maryland, and it says, see what God has wrought. That was the first telegraph message which was instant. Then you decipher what is A, B, and you put together, you get a message, right? On that day, this was a new era for mankind. A new day has dawned, you know, that we are no longer in the age of a horse. We're in the age of instant telegraphic transfer. Remember in the Bible it says about the coming of Christ that lightning will strike from east to west. You don't have the terminology of electricity during the time of Christ. So what is the closest that you can say about electricity is lightning. And yet that was how this message was transmitted, and that was the day when the Bob declared. Our Bob has declared. And that is no coincidence. It was a plan of God. It was an invisible hand that made all those things work. And that was a new day for mankind. And after that day, you look at what you have today. You can be any part of the world, and yet, we are in contact through internet, you name it, it's there. All this came because of 1844 when the Pope declared that this coming of Baha'u'llah was the beginning of a new era. Next. And then Alexander Graham Bell made the first long-distance call, not long after that, in 1892, from Chicago to New York. And next. And then, what is the significance of this? It is where you see, during the prehistoric time, if this is the graph of inventions and discovery and invention, for hundreds and thousands of years, there was no new invention. Do you think that electricity didn't exist 10,000 years ago? The principle of electron moving, from one potential to another causes electric current. Do you think that that principle did not exist 10,000 years ago? It was there. Everything in the law of science that you see today that we have benefited was there. Tens of thousands of years ago, it was still there. During the time of cavemen, that law of science was there. That law of creation, that law of physical creation has been there all this while. And that is why I mentioned earlier in a brief discussion that our notion of God, tens of thousands of years, including all the great civilizations that have come and gone, their notion of God did not have this scientific factor or component in the equation of God's definition. So, 10,000 years ago, if a lightning strike the tree, and there as a caveman, I would say, wow, God must be angry with me. I start worshipping that tree or the rock or whatever. Why? Because I didn't understand science. So there was no invention, no discoveries. The graph was flat. It was only after 1844, all right, you see the rate of inventions and discoveries just, went exponentially, just grew and shot out like a rocket. And today you have everything. All these things signify the greatness of the Bahai faith in terms of the new era that we are talking about. And we must recognize this. And we must be progressive people. Many of us also fall back to join the type of mindset that all religious group has. There are other religions, they still have this old mindset, old notion of God. The Baha'is must move beyond that and recognize how great God is. And why is it that some people, when they say prayers, God never seems to answer the prayers? And some people hardly ever say prayer, and God seems to give him everything that he asked for. Why? That is because we have not understood that notion of God is a great spiritual and scientific God. All the laws of science came also from the same source as the spiritual teaching, the creator that we have. So you can see how this has progressed. And after 1844, the graph just shot up exponentially, and today we live in a very special age that even I think Abdul Baha also mentioned about how the prophets of the old has wished that they could come back even for a moment to witness this day, that we've had. How great and privileged we are to live in this age. Okay, next. So a new era of spirituality and knowledge, started. And our scientific knowledge began to grow. And so will our spiritual capacity. God never gives us the scientific knowledge if we do not have the spiritual capacity to use them. And this is why today we have this great, tremendous capacity. Next. as we know that religion without science leads to superstitions and rituals that you find. People just, oh, you must go in from this door or do this. And why? It's because this religion without science. ISIS is like that. I was very sad. I saw a video about the migrants, refugees that went to Europe. I saw a short video clip that the Red Cross brought them water. They packed this water and food, and on the packing, they will say like, this is from the Red Cross International. And there was the Red Cross symbol as a part of the Red Cross. When he brought this and gave it to this refugee, or this migrant refugee, they were on this railway track in the railway station there, and they brought this. When the train arrived, they came down, wanted to give them this water and some food or whatever. And I saw in this video clip, some of this guy came down, and they saw on this packaging, of the water, there was this Red Cross symbol, and they say this is from Red Cross. Cross resemble Christianity. We don't want anything from there. And you know what? He kicked the thing. The video clip captured it. He kicked it until it dropped over the platform on the railway track, and he refused to take the water. Isn't this sad? Because these people have come forth to help them, to give them water and food. Just because the packaging had this Red Cross organization facilitating this, they refuse to accept. But water is H2O. Whether you put a cross there, or you put a moon there, or you put a whatever, is still H2O. Why do they kick this off? Does it mean that they drink this water, they will be less Muslim? This is the sad thing that we see in the world today, is because they cannot differentiate between spiritual teachings and social teaching. And they are so confused that, and they start to cause a lot of this pain. So, and science without religion also leads to destruction, which we also have witnessed a lot of this as well. Next. And a great era of enlightenment in spirituality and scientific knowledge is actually at hand. And you can see from the caveman, who when he see a lightning, he runs under the house and say that God is angry with him. And then how we progress, And today we have medical science, nuclear science, and everything that makes the whole world so great, today. But with that knowledge must come a responsibility. We use a lot of that knowledge and we are destroying our planet Earth. And this planet, where we cause global warming, we cause a lot of this pollution and so on, it's because of the knowledge we have acquired, that we have industrialized to make money, but we are destroying our Mother Earth. I like to use the word mother because mother is always something that we say with a lot of affection. Everything from science that we see today comes from the law of Mother Earth, and yet we are destroying it. So with that knowledge must come responsibility. Next. And so I put up this slide to say that spirituality and science actually, they do not contradict each other. They shake hands. They are with one another. And with science, you see, we send satellites out to space. We have your notebook, computer, everything else. But that doesn't conflict with spirituality as well. Next. And traditional medicine and medical science now, in the future, it is something that they're going to all shake each other's hand and move forward for the future of mankind, in the future of medicine. Next. This is something, a slide I saw from a friend that I thought I can copy it. He says, religion, alright? I repeat, religion is for people afraid of going to hell. Oh, I want to have this religion so that when I die, I don't go to hell, I go to heaven. People have religion because they don't want to go to hell. Alright? What is spirituality? Spirituality is for people who have already been to hell. And they come out, oh, enough of that. They become spiritual now. And that is why I say religion labels people, but spirituality is a common denomination for all religions and all faith. An old man or old lady walks on the road, falls and hurt herself, and you are nearby, you would rush to help that person, irrespective of the race, the gender, the religion of that person. You will just rush to go and help this old lady and you need to get up. Is that an act of a religious act? Or is it an act of spirituality? You don't need to have a religion to go help someone, right? And yet you do. That is spirituality, you know. And I think this is where, as Baha'is, you know, we must always remember the essence of Baha'u'llah coming and the Bab is actually to bring us spiritually to a higher realm of consciousness. Not just about the social laws alone. Next. Okay, the human biofield is something very interesting. We are energy being, all right? The energy that's manifested are what we call biofield. I worked with Professor Korovkov from Russia. He was a young student at the university when this Professor Kalian, you know, you heard about Kalian photography, where you have measured this energy field of a plant, where you pluck off a leaf, you take a picture, a special kind of camera, you take a picture, then you pluck off the leaf. Now the physical, there are many leaves, there are 10 leaves, one of the leaves I pluck off, all right? And I take a picture again. You'll be surprised. And that's how Kalian found that even the leaf has been taken away physically, there was this energy field that remained. And he was very surprised. So he went on further to study about this, and that's how they came out about this Kalian photography. And Professor Korovkov was still an undergraduate at the time, learning under Dr. Kalian. Professor Korovkov is my colleague, and we are developing many other things together. And he has so much of papers to show that our human body has an energy field. Now, to put it in a very simple layman term, when you have a phone that's fully charged, right? When you have a phone that's fully charged, you get 5 bar, right? Let's say that 5 bar of your battery, 5 bar is fully charged. As you use it, it drops to 4 bar, 3 bar, 2 bar, 1 bar, all right? Now, the human energy is very similar in that way. If you're Olympic gold medalist and very good and top of the form, health, for example, your energy is about 5 bar. But an average person is about 3 bar. If you go to the gym, live a healthy lifestyle, you're probably 4 bar or 5 bar. But an average person on the street is about 3 bar. If I use this as an analogy to explain that. The moment you fall sick, it drops down to 2 bar. And for those people who have cancer or terminal disease, they probably drop to 1 bar. And when the battery goes flat, the person dies. Dead. Alright? Patai. See, I know all the bad words. Okay, so when you think about energy, our human energy is also measured by different energy vibration. Alright? And every organ, every tissue has its own vibrational frequency that is a signature. Alright? When you're healthy, it will vibrate at a certain frequency. When you're not, that organ is not healthy, it will vibrate at another lower frequency. So this can be measured now with technology today. Now, can you go to the next slide? All right, this is the energy field. All right, and this is where you see the whole body. Now, today's medical practice, what we do today is when you meron sakit na, then you go and see a doctor, right? When you have a pain, you're uncomfortable, you go and see a doctor. But let me say this, the cause of the pain did not start yesterday. It could have started 3 weeks ago, maybe even 3 months ago, or maybe even 3 years ago. But it slowly accumulates, and before it then manifests that clinical symptom. But these things, if you at the early stage, you go and see a doctor and he asks you to take your blood, do a checkup in a laboratory, test your blood, and the doctor will say, look at it, you're okay, go home, it's okay, because it falls within the normal range, the higher and lower limit. But, so the hospital and the clinics cannot detect that you have a problem. We now have a technology where we call it NLS, it's this non-linear system, where it can actually screen your body and tells the different vibration of your body's organ. So it can even tell that if this guy is moving in a direction where you know that you are already 3 bar, going down to 2 bar. The cancer manifests when it's 1 bar, but it can already tell you in the early stage before the standard scanning can actually detect the cancer. We can already predict, and it's all non-invasive. You know what it does? You wear a headphone. All right. This headphone has a transmitter. It also has a receiver. So you transmit, it pulses. And it pulses a different frequency because let's say your liver has a certain vibrational frequency. As an empirical number, I say 1000 hertz. When it's healthy, you know, you're a top athlete, healthy, vibrate at 1000 hertz. Or say your kidney, vibrate at 1000 hertz. And then you go to the hospital, you take the people who has kidney disease, and you send that signal at that vibration and you pick up. It's like, you know, the submarine, you send a signal out and then you pick up the echo. You know, that principle, like sonar, you know, it bounces back and you pick it up. So the headphone has a transmitter and a receiver, so it will pulse different frequency to different organs with different things. Then it will pick up this signal as well. When it pick up the signal, it's able to now tell that this guy with kidney, you know, very healthy, is 1000 hertz, but people with kidney problem is about 300 hertz. So when you go to a hospital to check for your kidney, let's say if you are at 600 or 500 hertz, there's no clinical symptom, they test your blood, urine and everything, they say you're okay. But this technology that I'm talking about knows that, hey, your kidney is already highly stressed. If it continues, within 2 years, you're going to have kidney problem. We can already predict in the future, which the mainstream medicine do not. Because the medicine of the future is about prevention is better than cure. Today's medicine, when you have a problem, then you go and treat it. The future of medicine is to prevent it. And to prevent it, you need certain technology. And this is where we are involved into this area of science and technology to move, to provide that, promote that health, as with this motto of prevention is better than cure. Next.